You're listening to Brand, the marketing show. With your hosts, Thomas Sterling.
But now's the time. Giddy up and go.
And Veronica St. Cyr.
So on brand, I will take it.
An unfiltered conversation on brand strategy.
That's where the best work happens.
Marketing trends.
They're keeping it relevant.
And emerging technology.
$1 billion. That's when you know you made it.
You're excited.
I'm pumped.
All right, let's kick things off.
What's up, everyone? Today on the show, we're talking about personalization, something that once used to feel like a luxury, now more and more a demand from our customers. What are your thoughts on personalization, Veronica?
Well, I love that the episode is the democratization of personalization. It just sounds so nice.
You got to give the people what they want.
It's a very power to the people episode. And what's cool is we're talking about two really like systems or platforms that figured out how to make uniqueness mass produced, which used to be really expensive. Slate Auto turning a traditionally slow, expensive process into a lean, scalable system that lets anybody transform their vehicle, make it unique. And then Etsy, global marketplace built entirely on micro manufacturing, and both are impacted by AI and technology, but wouldn't be where they are without lean thinking in a system.
It's kind of a special renaissance of personalization, especially with all these digital tools.
Yeah.
And with that, let's get into it.
It's showtime. Well, I'm happy. I feel real good about myself, you know what I mean? So, without further delay.
Slate Auto or Etsy, what's it going to be?
I'm going to go Etsy because I think like half the things I'm usually wearing are from wonderful individuals making things on Etsy. So keep doing what you're doing.
I love that. All right. Slate, founded in 2022, so short arrival, has absolutely taken the internet by storm with their concept of personalization. And really, Slate came out of an incubator through Rebuild Manufacturing, a company focused on actually evolving U.S. manufacturing, changing the systems. It's a company backed by Jeff Bezos, so they're making stuff happen. And really the focus was, how do we optimize the old factory model? Well, not just optimize the old factory model, actually throw away elements of the old factory model and focus on getting rid of the most expensive, rigid parts of car manufacturing altogether. Core belief, you should decide how to spend your money, not them. So customizing all different elements of the car. And I got to play a clip of how they market the product, because this, I think, is what has people saying, wait, I could buy a truck and I could evolve the truck to be whatever my need state is?
And to become an SUV, what?
This is a Slate. This Slate seats 2 and can carry sheets of plywood. This Slate seats 5 and can fit tons in the frunk. It's actually the same Slate. This is narrated by me, Jeff. I work at Slate and just happen to have a great voice.
He really does.
That's Chris, our CEO. Chris thinks new cars are too expensive and too complicated.
A Slate cost in the mid-20s. Brand new.
One sec, Chris. Actually, under 20 after current incentives. Go ahead, Chris.
We took out everything that wasn't a car, but you can add accessories like
little screen, big screen, SUV kit.
It's like a potato head. Wait, maybe there's a better analogy.
Actually, there is. Slate is the chameleon of trucks and SUVs. Seriously, just add the SUV kit.
There are 3.
I mean, you got to give it to them. They're having fun with their marketing. They're making things interesting, and this is what the consumer wants.
Yeah. One of the coolest things about it, too, is if you think about in a traditional factory model or assembly line setup, when we think about lean, obviously coming out of Toyota, the paint line is so expensive. And you think about how many cars on the market. I don't know if you've tried to buy a car recently. I have. 5 colors,
You're
but
fresh
really
from the pain.
Fresh from the pain and from the paint, because, you know, it's like, oh, we only have like white or red. And I'm like, I don't want to drive a white or red car. Not a lot of choices. And it's expensive to do that. And they said, okay, let's have this constraint of trying to make this car so affordable. What if we got rid of the paint line and we wrapped the vehicles instead? Now it is cheaper to produce the car, and the customer gets more personalization through wrapping, which is like, again, a perfect win-win out of a constraint.
Well, and you're buying into more of an ecosystem versus getting a product. So I have a Tesla. When you get into the Tesla, there's so many things people have done because they're models. They stick around with the same thing. So there's so many different ways people are customizing.
Right.
But that's really kind of an aftermarket customization where they've created the entire experience around customization. And if that means you buy a Slate in the future, because you can't buy them yet, but soon, hopefully.
Hopefully.
You could, if it didn't have the thing you wanted, I imagine you could just easily order something from Slate. And what's worse than maybe settling for a car that isn't in the color that you wanted, or maybe doesn't have the interior that you're looking for, or has a stereo, but it's not a nice enough stereo, doesn't meet your needs. They're solving all of that. And you can get the taste and a feel from the CEO and her perspective. You can change your car as often as you can change your phone case. That's one of their marketing messages.
Crazy.
That's freaking awesome. I'm sorry. Trend shift, lifestyle change, no problem. Order a new wrap kit, change the color. That's great. And for people that commit crimes, this is perfect. You can change out your car really quick.
Oh my gosh, this is so smart. I mean, we now have a new way to rob all those banks we've been hitting.
That's actually problematic. I don't know.
We'll edit that out in post.
At the end of the day, they've made it so that their value proposition is the fact that customers want change, they want to evolve, and they want to be able to vote where they're spending their money.
We love it. All right, kicking it over to Etsy. Etsy's been around a little bit longer than Slate, 2005, founded by Rob Kalin. I hope I am saying your name right, Rob, because I really appreciate you. Him and his friends were in their apartment in Brooklyn, where a lot of great businesses get started. Their original vision was to create a business that would function as an online platform for craftsmen to sell their goods, which, again, make it easier for, instead of your local craft fair or maybe a holiday bazaar that's popping up, you have an easy way that you can now reach people to sell their more unique goods. What it turned into was a global marketplace for vintage, handmade, one-of-a-kind goods with a heavy, heavy focus on customization. I think the level that we're seeing people give customized gifts or receiving them has evolved so much in the past maybe decade from where it was before, which it was expensive to get something custom made for a friend or custom stitched. You always had to like do big batch orders if you wanted anything even branded. Like, you can get swag on there in big orders, and it's usually a little bit more cost effective. Etsy is now one of the largest VC-backed IPOs to come out of New York City with a valuation of $3.5 billion. Their campaigns lean into the magic of feeling understood, right? When you have something that's uniquely you or custom made by a person for you, you inherently kind of assign more value to it than you would if you just went to TJ Maxx and bought something that, you know, anybody else at any location could go and get. So there's this gift that says, I get you. Etsy's constantly reinforcing creativity, the human touch that's at the heart of their marketplace. They've been very intentional about making sure people are aware AI is like the background assistant, because you have a platform that relies heavily on this like human connection. You kind of can't go, we're going all AI.
Well, and creators that are literally making money uploading a piece of artwork that you pay for a digital version. And that is like, AI is coming for that big time. And I'm sure some of those creators are using it, but they're using it to empower those creatives. Right. You talked about democratization. I think there's something special about Etsy in the sense that it legitimizes a creator immediately. You don't have to even open a Shopify store. Like, you can start with almost zero.
Yeah.
And you have the credibility. And I personally, my affiliation with the brand, I think of Etsy still as a little bit premium, even though it kind of has anything.
Yeah.
It could be as cheap or as high end as you want, but they've done a nice job of maintaining a feeling of premium for those creators.
That's a great point. We actually also have a video of the CEO talking more specifically about this strategy of how they are using AI to evolve the platform, but again, be very intentional not to replace any humans. If you want to play the clip.
We are really excited about how we can leverage AI to take a lot of the work and the things that take a lot of time out of your days to give you more time to do what only you can do, the creating and the connecting with buyers. And on the buyer side, we're really investing a lot in leveraging AI to highlight what makes two things. One, to highlight what makes the items on Etsy really special and human, but also to do a much better job matching and connecting people with things that meet their interests.
So what you're hearing is an AMA. So they did like a Reddit-style AMA on their YouTube channel with their chief growth officer and their soon-to-be CEO, which was great. She got to like immediately start addressing this Etsy community before she even fully stepped into the position, which is not something you always see. And it is important, like even the way they're doing this, it looks like the two of them are just sitting down in somebody's office.
It's pretty low production.
It's low production, but that's kind of their vibe. They're like, we're just people.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're not trying to put on this front, and they love cats. And
clearly,
I'm sure, Thomas, everything behind them is curated from Etsy.
I would hope so. I think there's a mushroom in there. I don't know what some of this stuff is, but either way, it does feel authentic and real. And I think in a moment where we're talking about AI and elements that are very high production, it's nice when maybe you're just getting a window into the CEO's office.
Yeah. Speaking of a window, or should I say maybe like a sunroof into the CEO's office, I think you have a clip from Slate Auto CEO Chris Barman talking about how Slate was founded and how they make their customization accessible.
Yeah, let's do it.
What it means to us is we don't need a stamping operation, which keeps our costs down. We don't need to paint the exterior panels, which helps not only our investment costs, but our operational costs are much lower.
But you're also coming into a market without a $7,500 federal EV tax credit. And let's be clear here. The momentum towards EVs is not there. It's moving away. The market is moving away from EVs.
We often think that the EV is the least interesting thing about it. We like that it's on an EV platform. But the fact that it's built as a configuration of one to help keep our costs down in our manufacturing operation, but the fact that you can accessorize it and change it, and we're able to offer it at that price point in the mid-20s is going to be very attractive to individuals because they can get this vehicle and it changes with them over time. It's not a commitment at the price of purchase.
I love that the interviewer went right at the fact that EV sales are plummeting, because I know a lot of automakers, Ford pulled back on their commitments. A lot of automakers really pushed hard into EV, but Slate's interesting because it's not necessarily just an EV play.
Right.
It's on an EV platform so that they can have a frunk and make you smile.
I love the frunk.
But it gives you more cargo space, more flexibility. It allows them to simplify things. And who knew paint was so hard in automotive? I guess I should have.
Rebuild knew, because they're leading the game right now in terms of U.S. manufacturing innovation. So very cool to see this.
Personalization, I think, is the real winner for them. Yeah. And in some ways, I feel like their success is success in the auto industry, pushing harder for folks to have more choices.
Definitely. And it looks like this is getting a little closer to reality right now. If you go on their website, you can still reserve your spot in line for only $50, which put a little money down. You got a little skin in the game. You're maybe more likely to follow through on the purchase, but still unsure when it's going into production. Allegedly, it's going to happen this year. That would be great for some car manufacturing on U.S. soil. But we're not really sure. I checked their press page, and they haven't put out a press release in a little bit. So
they may be running into some snags. It takes a lot to get this off the ground. Yeah. They've got demand. They've got interest. They've got a lot of eyes on them.
Yeah.
I think the bigger thing here is that Slate shows us personalization doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be intimidating. It doesn't have to add friction to the buying process. I think that's an important one. Like, people want personalization, but they also don't want to spend 30 minutes on your website trying to configure something. So it's got to be additive in the process. Yeah. But I think they're really doing something unique here. And at the end of the day, a very simple product stack. So we could see some real success here.
Yeah. We'd be remiss if we didn't also talk about some creative, right? We may know some people who work in an agency.
Yeah.
I wanted to play a clip of Etsy's holiday spot from this past holiday season, really leaning into how everything is made by individual people and made specially for you.
You won't believe what I found on Etsy. Personalized ornaments under $50 and custom stockings with free shipping. What do you think?
It's so Helen. For affordable holiday decor, special starts on Etsy.
So what I like about that is what you see in that ad for all of our audio listeners at home. Everything that she got for the holidays had her name on it everywhere, but then a little pop-up shows up of made by the creator. So it's like people making things for people. You know, we're talking about Slate bringing manufacturing on U.S. soil, and there's like some pride in that. There's also been a big conversation, you know, between consumers saying, like, I don't want things that are all just mass-produced in China. Like, it kind of can undervalue something when you get a gift and it looks like it's this, you know, artisanal craft from Morocco, and you flip it over and it says made in China on the bottom, right? So like there's this very nice like emotional connection that they're making between their platform and their consumers. And they've even gone so far in talking about their AI a little bit more. They announced a partnership with ChatGPT to let chat users make purchases directly through an AI-powered shopping experience, which again is like a big move towards bringing more personalization through technology. So it seems like what started out as a marketplace for handmade, one-of-a-kind goods is kind of become like one of the biggest engines for individualized discovery on the internet. So thank you, Etsy, right?
So if we had to talk about any other brands, I got to give it to Scout Motors. I don't know if you've seen the revival of the iconic Scout. I guess it was made in 1961 to 1980.
No
Beautiful.
idea.
And Volkswagen brought it back. If you compare a Scout next to a Slate, and again, Scout is hoping to start manufacturing this year, 2026. Scout Motors, 2027, out of South Carolina. Very similar look. Not exactly in the same personalization vein, but if you look at what these competing options are, I think what it means is more choice for consumers, cooler car offerings, and at the end of the day, that's a win. Another one would be Nike. We talk about Nike on the show all the time, but Nike by You. Originally Nike ID, launched in 1999, rebranded in 2019, allows you to pick all the little details, the laces, the colors, some of the materials. Again, everybody wants their own look, their own feel.
Yeah. Domino's is another one, solved the delivery constraint with the pizza tracker. Feel like this was a huge turning point in customer anxiety, which even paved the way for...
Did it add anxiety?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it paved the way for like DoorDash and Uber, where you want to watch the car and keep refreshing and refreshing.
I don't think
and be
that's
like,
good.
They stuck at a red light. Where's my pizza? And lastly, Pandora. We might have seen them around, those charm bracelets, right? You could buy someone a bracelet once, give them a charm, and get them a new charm every year. So it's this great way that you can build loyalty with the customer because they're going to keep coming back to you. But kind of like a Slate, you let somebody keep building upon something that they bought one time to continue to evolve as we evolve as people.
You gotta love it.
And now for something completely different.
So if we had to put this to work, first it would be analyze from a customer perspective where the true personalization in your product or service lies. Don't focus on the things that relate to your benefits. Think about what's truly important to them. And often that means dusting off personas, doing new market research, and really getting to the core why. Sometimes that answer will surprise you. Next, utilize and leverage your constraints. Slate came into this and said, wait a second, we can't figure out paint. We need to try something different here. What if we wrapped? You have your own constraints, and sometimes those constraints can actually be flipped on their head and turned into a superpower. Next, think about how you're de-risking the entire buyer journey process, making it so that you're focused on keeping the customer involved, not cart abandoning. And so that means about making sure that the journey and the experience is easy, is additive, is simple. People are not going to sit there and spend 30 minutes shopping with you. They're going to spend 2 minutes. And then last would be make sure the personalization ties back to a revenue optimization. Etsy has done a really good job of focusing on gross merchandise value, one of their key value and KPIs. And that's about making sure that personalization helps support that and ultimately delivers on more revenue for the business.
Everybody can relax. I found the car. Needs some suspension work and shocks and brakes, brake pads, lining, steering box, transmission, rear end. How much? Only $4,800. maybe new rings, also mufflers.
So if you had to take anything away from the show today, Veronica, what would it be?
I would say that the real shift is that personalization is no longer a luxury or a premium feature. It is becoming an expectation for consumers. Brands winning today aren't telling people what to buy. They are giving them the tools to make that choice for themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very deep.
I know.
Well, mine would be personalization isn't about adding more options. It's about designing better systems. And with that, we're out, folks.
Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, smash the subscribe button or listen wherever you get your podcasts. We're out of here.